When we discuss who the GOAT is in the NBA, we tend to look at their accolades, best performances, and overall impact they had on the game. One aspect that I feel is often overlooked is the company that these GOATs had to support them over the years. Basketball is a team sport, and no matter which GOAT you have on your team, you aren't going to see any success if the supporting cast is awful. This video idea was recommended to me by Lucas Capito, who left a comment on the Tim Duncan video. So if you have any other video ideas you'd like to see me create, don't hesitate to leave a comment just like Lucas did. For this video, I'll be doing a deep analysis of LeBron James's, Michael Jordan's, and Kobe Bryant's teammates and supporting cast. These are three players I believe most NBA fans consider the GOATs. Now I know I'm missing a lot of great players like Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but I'll be saving them for a part 2 to this video. So if you like this video and want to see me make a part 2, let's aim for 25 likes, and I'll get it done for y'all. Now with all that out of the way, let's take a look at LeBron's teammates and supporting cast. LeBron James's argument for having good teammates is somewhat flawed. In his first stint with the Cleveland Cavaliers, the organization was handled very poorly and LeBron had no real help or supporting cast. He had Zydrunas Ilgauskas, who was a one-time All-Star, and Mo Williams, who was also a one-time All-Star, but I almost don't even want to count them because they were both borderline All-Stars and only really played well because LeBron helped them. Other than Big Z and Mo Williams, LeBron had a super old and out-of-shape Shaquille O'Neal, who only averaged 12 points per game while with the Cavs. The first 7 years of LeBron's career were essentially wasted because he wasn't able to bring any team success for his lack of teammates. LeBron was somehow still able to carry his poorly assembled team to the NBA Finals in 2007, but they were swept by the Spurs. LeBron would end up joining the Miami Heat and creating the most notoriously hated NBA team of the 2010s. The Miami Heat were already in championship conversations, led by their star Dwayne Wade, and now with the addition of the two-time MVP LeBron James, they were heavy favorites to win it all. To make matters worse, the Miami Heat also added Chris Bosh to their roster. He was one of the best power forwards in the league, and his addition created the Miami Heat Big Three. This Big Three consisted of all-star appearances for each of the individuals for the 4 years they were together, and also brought along 2 more MVPs for LeBron and 2 championships to the Heat organization. Although Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh took lesser roles to make space for LeBron, they were still both amazing second and third options, and it showed. The Miami Heat also brought in great role players like Mario Chalmers, Ray Allen, Mike Miller, and Chris Anderson. LeBron would eventually leave the Miami Heat in 2014 to go back home to the Cleveland Cavaliers, but I'm sure he was really happy to play alongside 2 other Hall of Famers for the first time in his career. Cleveland was now better prepared for LeBron compared to before. They had their own up-and-coming young, shifty guard in Kyrie Irving, who was respectfully an all-star and someone who could lead a team to many wins. Having LeBron return, however, instantly made them championship contenders, and with Cleveland trading their first overall pick, Andrew Wiggins, to the Minnesota Timberwolves for all-star power forward Kevin Love, LeBron had yet another Big Three, but this time in Cleveland. The Cavs were serious contenders every year, but ran into the Golden State Warriors every time in the finals. They managed to somehow pull off an epic 3-1 comeback against the Warriors, so LeBron was finally able to bring a championship to his hometown city. This would seem to be the last of the Cleveland Cavaliers' championship hopes because the Golden State Warriors would acquire Kevin Durant and they instantly became championship favorites. The Big Three would eventually split up as everyone parted ways. LeBron would go to the LA Lakers, and after one disappointing season with dysfunctional teammates, LeBron would team up with possibly the best current big man in the NBA, that being Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis was a great addition to the roster, and together they won a 2020 NBA championship in the bubble. LeBron and AD also had a great supporting cast surrounding them, which helped propel them to win the bubble championship. LeBron has teamed up with a total of 7 All-Stars across 18 years in the league. He's definitely had a lot of help, but now let's move on to Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was fortunate enough to have Shaquille O'Neal lead him to major success in his early days in the NBA. Together, they won 3 championships in a row, and they paired very nicely together as teams didn't know how to stop the most dominant big man ever and one of the best high-flying guards at the same time. I along with the majority of the other people, believe that if Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe stayed together, they would have won a few more championships together. As Shaquille O'Neal's game slowly regressed, but Kobe's exploded, making him a superstar. Unfortunately, things did not turn out that way, as both Shaq and Kobe started to dislike each other, which led to Shaquille O'Neal getting traded to the Miami Heat to pair up with the young Dwayne Wade. The Lakers would receive Lamar Odom, who was a crucial piece for the Lakers down the line, but Kobe would spend his peak almost entirely alone. He averaged over 35 points in the 2005 season, carrying Smush Parker, Kwame Brown, and Andrew Bynum to the playoffs. This was all until the Lakers would make a big move, trading for all-star big man Pau Gasol. The trade proved to be a great one for the Lakers, as Kobe would lead the Lakers to 2 straight championships, now accompanied by a stellar big man. Those championships also proved to the Kobe haters that he himself could lead a team to victory and not have to be a sidekick like he was with Shaquille O'Neal. After those 2 championships, Kobe would slowly regress as injuries piled up and the Lakers never seemed to recover after that. Kobe definitely didn't have as much help as LeBron, and some fans value that more than others. The fact that Kobe Bryant still got the job done, all while staying on the same team while never having too much help, proves his talents and how dedicated and loyal he can be. All in all, Kobe played with a total of 6 All-Stars, but other than Shaquille O'Neal and Pau Gasol, the others barely made it. Kobe was mentored by Eddie Jones as a rookie, and he was an All-Star. Kobe also got to team up with Dwight Howard, but he was coming off of an injury, but was still somehow an All-Star for the Lakers. Kobe also had Lamar Odom, if you could consider him a good player. Kobe was surrounded by players who were average most of the time, with the only exceptions being Pau Gasol and Shaquille O'Neal. Before we move on to Michael Jordan, I wanted to take a quick second to talk about how roughly only 2% of you guys watching these videos are subscribed. So do me and yourself a favor by subscribing. We're super small right now, but subscribing helps me put out content that I love. And if you've made it this far, then that means you're liking what you're seeing as well. Now that that's done, let's have a look at the help Michael Jordan received. Surprisingly enough, Michael Jordan has only played with one All-Star teammate, and that was Scottie Pippen. Some argue that Scottie Pippen was the greatest second option of all time, and I'm in the same boat. I believe Scottie Pippen was one of the most underrated superstars of all time. He could seriously have left Michael Jordan and joined some other team, making them contenders. Together, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen dominated on defense and played well on offense. They both played well off each other and elevated each other. Pippen even received MVP votes a few times, all while being behind Michael Jordan's big shadow. Now that's not to say it was only the Jordan and Pippen show. The Chicago Bulls also had an amazing supporting cast, and that's what led to their dominance in the 90s. Players like Ron Harper, Dennis Rodman, and Steve Kerr were all amazing pieces that brought success to the franchise for an entire decade. Out of the 3 players mentioned in this video, I'd have to say that Jordan received the least amount of help, both all-star teammates wise and just in general. Kobe would have to be next because I believe he did receive more help than Jordan, but I think LeBron definitely received the most help out of the 3 guys. LeBron has constantly left and joined teams to better his situation and to win more. What I want you guys to take away from this video is that we shouldn't be this close-minded when talking about the GOAT conversation. It's impossible to compare players, especially from different eras. Jordan had the least amount of help, but maybe it was because his era was the least competitive, allowing him to win without major help. Maybe Kobe Bryant steered away great players from LA because of his intense mindset that most would consider insane. Maybe LeBron played against the most difficult competition of anyone in this video, meaning he would need the most amount of help. People shouldn't get fixated on one part of the GOAT talk conversation because there are multiple factors to consider from many different angles. I'll leave you guys with that. If you enjoyed this video, our goal for part 2 is 25 likes, so let's make sure we get there. Subscribe to stay up to date with the best basketball content. And as always, until next time, cheers.